So who's Larry Karaszewski?
Larry Karaszewski, hey. No, when I was like a little kid, way even before I got in Beyond Control, I shot all kinds of Super 8 movies, and you know, I was told that you couldn't, with a name like Karaszewski, you could never make it in the big leagues. So, you know, I shortened my name to Larry Karaszewski, and I even made little business cards that had little Larry Karaszewski. They were like on what do you call those things? Like the things you do with screenplays, where you put them on the little note cards.
Yeah.
And I actually sent one to Tom Snyder. I said, if you ever want to interview like a child actor, or you know, I sent, and I think I got a form rejection letter from Tom Snyder. Yeah.
And this was you at like 12, right?
Yeah, probably. Anyway, we should probably identify ourselves. I'm Larry Karaszewski.
And I'm Chris Webb, and that is Carrie Johnson.
Yeah.
This bit was a radio station that kept changing its format, even though the same personnel was always there. That's what I remember.
What amazed me about that's my Janis Ian poster, not Janis Ian, Janis Joplin poster back then. That was basically what I did the first year of being in the company. Is I provided movie posters for the for the backgrounds of sets. I got the movie posters by, I told my kids this the other day, they were totally shocked, by jumping in the trash cans of movie theaters in South End. I remember going to the Town and Country Theater, and when you know, my mom would drop me off, and then afterwards she'd come pick me up, and it would be like 10-15 minutes, and me and my friends would jump into the trash cans and just dig, looking for the trash. What amazed me about that bit, though, there's Dave Williams, was that
it was Beth Weiler in there.
The things like the best dope deals in town.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you would never get away with that today, you know, particularly on a kids show. Anyway, this I believe is the only footage of Dave Williams speaking.
Oh, really?
Which is that Bob Siebold sitting there?
Probably.
I think it is. This Baskerville.
Randy Clayton.
Randy Corin.
Well, Clayton.
Clayton?
Clayton was the first Randy.
Oh.
Well, the first Randy was Hassan, but anyway.
True.
And it's so. Do you remember? I mean, was it? Why did you make this? Do you remember?
I guess I'd gotten in the summer, and this would be the fall, and I was just sort of giving myself a purpose. You know, I was a young guy, and whatever. I always made little Super 8 movies, and so I sort of didn't stop doing that. And so I just had a sound Super 8 camera, and I just followed around. Now you were saying earlier how it really reminded you of like the cinema verte style, but it really was because I wasn't very good with the camera. Exactly, I wasn't very good with the camera. I didn't have splicing tape. That's Lewis Boyden, who happened to get into the company.
Yes.
Which is kind of got lucky by actually following somebody who made it all the way in.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said to the group when you got in, Chris?
No. Do you?
I remember simply being, I remember telling them how much I went to the movies all the time, and they're asking me, well, what's good? What's good? And I remember saying, well, you know, Missouri Break starts Friday. They're like, yeah, but what's good now? And I'm like, well, Missouri Break starts Friday.
Well, I do remember this. My application, Kate Doherty read it, and I was living at Castle Point Apartments in Clay Township, and she said, this is Chris Webb, and he lives at 1212 Enchanted Forest Drive. And Dave Williams said, wait, you live under a mushroom?
I believe Lee Taylor was just in that room right there. And here we go from yeah, exactly, from Dave talking to Denny talking.
I think she tells you to just put the camera down and paint the
Exactly. Exactly. That was also another thing you learned very early on when you had a Super 8 camera back then. It was very rare for you, you know, is that you could sort of like film to get yourself out of work. I remember like doing a lot of things like, you know, like school projects would be instead of like you're writing a report, it would be. And there's you.
Yes.
And you got a little mustache.
Yes. And even then, I wanted to be a writer. I'm glad I grew into my nose. I remember I was telling Doug this the other day. Doug's my partner out here in LA. That
he's gay.
Yeah, my gay partner. That I came to my first BOC writers meeting with actual like ideas written out on cards, and everybody was like kind of blown away by that.
Like someone who prepared.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's funny. I did a similar thing when I first came to USC Cinema. I went to like the first like session with a TA kind of thing, and I thought, oh, I'm prepared. I'm in college now, and I've had all these ideas, and I had all this stuff I had to say, and wound up being just like high school. Or I spewed all this stuff out, and it's like, oh, very interesting. Who else has anything to say? And nobody had anything to say. This shot actually is interesting because Bonnie Spindler leaves the set here, and I believe she fainted.
Oh, this is when that happened.
This is actually got her.
She was hypoglycemic, and she fainted because she hadn't eaten or something, and yeah, she referred to that just last time I saw her.
Now, does anyone know what happens to Baskerville?
I don't know.
He's a person who just kind of fell off the planet Earth. I mean, here's the thing. I would say I don't remember what bit this is. I mean, being in the company at this time was amazing, just because you had Simpkins in there who was willing to do anything, and that was something that I thought that was really,
he would amaze you every week.
Yeah.
And for him, it was so off the cuff too. He'd go in the bathroom and come out 20 minutes later with, as a guy in this PBS Playhouse thing with a hook for a hand, like a Masterpiece Theater guy.
There's Lynn Pustai. Everyone was madly in love with Lynn Pustai that year.
That's true. Yeah. I actually first met Denny when he was a hockey coach.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was over. This is an Arab terrorist. This, I believe, is the first Arab terrorist bit.
Yeah.
The library sketch.
There's Eric Mohlberg back there.
I feel like recently I put a joke in the script that Scott and I were writing. My partner Scott.
You're gay?
I'm gay, exactly. Well, I realized the reason I pointed that out is that we're in the political season now, and I went to a political thing fairly recently, and I met Dick Gephardt, and I was talking to him, and I referred to my partner Scott, and I pointed him out, and I realized, 5 minutes later that he thinks I'm gay. There's my partner, Scott. And then there's no other interpretation of it, Where he comes from, you don't have a partner named Scott. He's in California now. Old book of one, but no, I think in a script we recently put a joke about Leon Uris's Trinity. It's funny when I throw things out that to Scott, who doesn't know the bits, and he doesn't realize I'm trying to weave in. I'm not blatant about it. I'm not saying, oh, you know what? There's a bit in Beyond Our Control that usually gets it shot down. They have to be. Hey, you know what? Leon Uris's Trinity. What if they're trying to get that? And,
I try to do that, but it's much more blatant. So.
Yeah.
I remember going to college as well, and you'd go into a TV department like you knew what you were doing, and nobody had any clue, and it was kind of demoralizing for me actually. That's after you'd been in Beyond Our Control for 2-3 years, you were so far ahead of your peers.
No, it was mind blowing because I went to USC Film School. It's supposed to be the best film school in the country, and then I went out there, and this was nothing
Amateur night
compared to Beyond Our Control.
Yeah.
You did everything,
and it looks from this film. It looks like you were ready for USC Film School at age 14.
Well, that's the thing. The people who probably were coming into USC Film School were sort of the people who were doing Super 8 kind of movies, throwing them together. But one of the key things I think about what Beyond Our Control really teaches you is just that just to put it out, because you're you've got
time's a wasted, and you've got another bit to do.
It just teaches you, I think, the work ethic, which was you'd write a bit on Tuesday, you'd film it on. You'd prepare on Wednesday night, you'd cast it, and then Saturday you'd shoot it, and sometimes it'd be on the air on Sunday. These were my best. When I think of Beyond Our Control, I think of those Wednesday night meetings.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I always think of the writers' meetings.
Well, yeah, maybe that's true too. But the Wednesday night is that whole group where everyone was sort of very intense. I mean, just even panning around it, you just see all these people Jenny. Just everyone acting, everyone putting up their hands and volunteering for things, and that whole. I mean, how we pulled it off week after week, I have no idea.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Well, for me, I have more memories of writers' meetings, but in terms of what the experience was and that vibe, that I don't know, being part of something really cool vibe, it was kind of there on writers' meetings, but it was always there for the Wednesday meetings. So
yeah. Well, I just didn't, I almost feel like I didn't go to high school. I went to Beyond Our Control because you were a part of this, and maybe it wasn't like this for some people, but particularly if you were a writer, it consumed you 100%.
Yeah, it did. I'm grateful that I found something. I found something that I love to do when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who are 44 and haven't had that experience. So.
Right. And what's also very cool about at least the profession that you and I have chosen to go into is that we've chosen to go into something that's really an extension of what we learned back there, and it's actually very cool, at least for me, the idea that I'm in Los Angeles, I am making movies now, and that I can look around and there are guys who I was doing the same thing at age 14 are doing the same thing with me. You know what I mean? There's you and the Simpkins and Waters and all these guys, So it gives you there's a sense of continuity to your life. If I had become, if I had done something else, I don't know if I would have.
Right. Yeah. This bit, by the way, is a bit. It was a telethon that WIMP was doing, even though they were a station that ran commercials. They needed money.
Oh my God, I don't remember that. I remember it being a parody of public television telethons, but I don't remember them actually. There's Fess Parker, I think.
You're right. Daniel Boone. And they would. So I think it said there was a super on the screen that said we flip our lids for an overbid.
That's right. There it is, right there. You know what's funny is that sometimes those phrases, I will say those phrases in my adult life, and it'll just it plays as a complete non sequitur. Now this joke, this is when I probably I first fell out of love with Chris Webb when he first broke my heart. Was that in the writers' meeting, Webb came up with this great joke, which was this joke here, he's pretending that he's playing the harmonica, and the guy's, oh, what a great song or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but wait till I get a harmonica. And it's a great joke. Went over the room, it gets in the script, they film it, and I don't remember what point you actually break it to me, but you might say to me, I stole it from Carol Burnett, and I was so shocked that you said that.
You were shocked.
Yeah. Shocked and finding there's gambling going on, but so that it was just basically, I didn't realize you could actually steal jokes.
That bit, by the way, was there was a Japanese. These guys were
Tokyo Lows.
Let's see. Yeah, there was a bunch of Japanese World War II guys that had landed were attacking a fort in Wichita or something in 1942.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I think that's what that was.
Do you play two roles in that?
No.
Do you also play the Japanese?
No. I don't think so. I remember.
Stanley Kramer. That's the late Stanley Kramer. That actually, I like the basically channel switching. Went from when they first came up with channel switching, they basically looped it. Mm-hmm. You came and did funny voices over Stanley Kramer. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I think this year, he had said, let's just use the real voices. Oh. And I always like that. Yeah. There's Kate Doherty, who I just saw on some television show, some reality show where they.
You did?
Yeah. Basically some woman was trying. It's called Starting Over, and it's about women who want to change their lives. And some woman wanted to be a costume designer, and they hooked her up with Kate Doherty.
Really?
And the woman, the section I saw is she comes into the place and Kate's like, have you any experience? Like, well, I've been working with adult performers. So basically some woman who made like stripper outfit and stripper clothes.
I like the fact in this film that you kept kind of going back to interviews, and it has this non-linear feeling to it, which Larry said was due to a lack of splicing tape, but obviously, you shot these things out of sequence.
Yeah, I think, once again, I'm not going to take any kind of credit. We cut out the crappy parts, and I left in stuff that was going to play Remember over or something, and I never wound up re-looping it.